Good morning, everybody. Very warm welcome to all of you, and welcome to all of you tuning in today through Facebook and YouTube. Just two quick announcements before I get into my homily. First, did you notice a handsome young man all dressed up in a suit in the front row? That's Anthony, and today he's making his first communion. So Anthony, a warm welcome to you and to your family. It's a real joy and an honor to be with you on your first communion day. Second announcement, today we're going to change a little bit the way we do Mass. We're going to start taking up a collection again at the normal time. Now, because of COVID, we're not allowed to pass around collection baskets, so we're going to have a little blast from the past. Do you remember when you were kids how the ushers had a basket on the end of a big stick? Well, I ordered 10 of those back in May, and they came in this week. So today we're going to go old school. All right, we've never done it before, so please be patient if there's any glitches, and please, no small bills. These baskets just can't handle the small ones. They slip right through. Thank you. All right, so let's get into the homily. I can almost guarantee you that everybody here right now is praying for something at this very moment. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a single person in this church who's not praying for something at this time of their life. And you know in your heart what you're praying for. Maybe you're praying for a sick loved one to get healed. Maybe you're praying for a son or a daughter or a husband or a wife to come back to the church. Maybe you're in trouble and you're praying for things to turn out well. Or maybe you're just praying for the coronavirus to end. We're all praying for something right now. So here's my question for you this morning. How badly do you want the thing that you're praying for right now? Do you want it badly enough that you'd be willing to pray for 20 minutes a day for 54 days straight? Now that might seem like an arbitrary number, but I assure you it is not arbitrary. 20 minutes a day for 54 days straight. I'll explain in a minute what I mean by that. First, let's take a quick look at today's gospel. In today's gospel, we have an amazing example of perseverance in prayer. A woman goes to Jesus and she asks Jesus to heal her daughter. The first time she asks, Jesus ignores her. The second time she asks, Jesus gives her a flat and rather harsh no. But the woman doesn't give up, does she? She asks Jesus yet a third time to heal her daughter, and in response to that third request, Jesus essentially says, okay, enough already, I'll give you what you want, and the daughter is healed. Have you parents ever had that experience where you don't plan to give the kid what he's asking for, but they just pester you so much that finally you say, enough, I'm sick of being pestered, just have the darn thing. Well, that's kind of what's happening in today's gospel. This woman persists and perseveres in her prayer, and eventually she moves Jesus' heart and her daughter is healed. And the lesson of this gospel is that we have to persist and persevere in our prayer and not give up. And if we do, we really can move the heart of God, and He might very well grant us the very thing that we're praying for. Okay, so now back to my question. Do you want what you're praying for right now badly enough that you'd be willing to pray every day for 20 minutes a day for 54 days straight? Why do I ask that question? Well, I ask you that because this morning I want to promote an extremely powerful prayer that we Catholics have in our tradition called the 54-day Rosary Novena. And here's how it works if you haven't heard about it. Do you all know what a novena is? If anybody doesn't know what a novena is where you pray one prayer every day for 9 days for a particular intention. And we pray for 9 days because the apostles prayed for 9 days in the upper room between Ascension Thursday and Pentecost Sunday. That's where the 9 comes from. So the 54-day Rosary Novena is essentially 6 novenas all put together. 6 times 9 is 54. So you have 6 novenas all in a row. And here's what you do. You pray the rosary every day for 27 days to ask God through our Blessed Mother for whatever the thing is that you're asking for. And those 27 days add up to 3 novenas. 3 times 9, 27. I know you came for a homily, not a math lesson, but stick with me. So 27 days to ask for the thing. Then you pray the rosary every day for 27 more days in thanksgiving to God and our Blessed Mother for having heard your prayer. And you pray that rosary every day for 27 days, whether or not you got what you were asking for. So 27 days to ask, 27 days to say thank you. Altogether, it adds up to 54 days, and in that 54 days, you will have prayed 54 rosaries. Now, that number, as I said, is not arbitrary. The number 54 was chosen by the Blessed Virgin Mary herself. All the way back in 1884, Mary appeared to a little girl in Naples, Italy, who was very sick with many different illnesses. And Mary asked the little girl to pray the rosary every day for 54 days. The little girl did, and she was completely healed of all of her illnesses. Since that time, this novena has been known as the 54-day Rosary Novena, and many, many people who have prayed it have gone on to see and witness incredible miracles as a result of their prayer. Let me give you an example. I have a good friend named John Minetta, who is a big believer in the power of the 54-day Rosary Novena. Back in 1977, John was married with 3 kids, and they were renting an apartment in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn for $250 a month. Now, John really wanted to move his family out of that apartment into a house in the Madison neighborhood of Brooklyn. He had read about the 54-day Rosary Novena, and he decided to try it to get the house he was looking for. Before he began the novena, he made his request to our Blessed Mother in a very, very specific way. He said, "Mary, I'm about to pray the 54-day Rosary, and what I'm looking to get from you is a house in the Madison neighborhood of Brooklyn, about a block away, if possible, from St. Agnes High School, where I'd like to send my kids, with 3 bedrooms, a dining room, a living room, and a front room for a TV. And I can't afford to pay more than $10 a month more than what I'm paying right now." So he made his request very clear. Well, he got set to praying the rosary. He prayed it every day from his heart with faith for 54 days. He finished the novena. A week went by, nothing happened. 2 weeks went by, nothing happened. At the end of the 2 weeks, he opened the newspaper one day and he saw an advertisement for a house in the Madison neighborhood of Brooklyn. The real estate agency that was selling the house was named, of all things, Joseph Real Estate. So he went immediately to the real estate agency and asked to look at the house, and what did he find? The house was right around the corner from St. Agnes High School. It had 3 bedrooms, a dining room, a living room, and a front room for a TV. And what was the combined total of the monthly cost of the mortgage and the taxes on the house? $260, the exact price he could afford to pay and that he asked for. John got his prayer answered down to the last detail. And I ask you, how can you explain that except by the power of the 54-day Rosary Novena? Another time, John's cousin, who was a computer engineer, got fired from his job. It was a very nasty firing, and his employers blacklisted him. So he couldn't find a job anywhere, even though he was really good at his craft. John saw that his cousin was in desperate straits, and he decided to pray the 54-day Rosary Novena for his cousin. A week after he finished, the biggest computer company in New York City called his cousin and offered him a job. Another fruit of John's 54-day Rosary Novena. Can I tell you one more, or are you too hot behind those masks? One more? Years later, John was working for Verizon, and he had a coworker at Verizon named Nora. One day, John told Nora about the 54-day Rosary Novena. Now, Nora was a Catholic, but she wasn't that interested. She rolled her eyes and she said, "John, I've got so many novenas and rosaries, I don't need any more. No, thank you." Nora and John retired, and Nora had a really good friend who was a really bad alcoholic. And for years, Nora had been trying to convince her friend to go into rehab, but her friend would not listen to her. Well, Norma kept pestering her friend so much to go into recovery, eventually her friend got so fed up with Nora's pestering that she broke off her friendship with Nora and stopped talking to her. Well, a couple of years after John and Nora retired, out of the blue, John got a phone call from Nora. And Nora said, "John, you're never going to believe what happened to me. I could never manage to help my friend go into rehab, and she stopped talking to me, so I figured, what the heck, I'll try the 54-day Rosary Novena that John Minetta told me about all those years ago at Verizon." So she did. And the last week of that novena, she was praying it in Ireland, where she was on vacation. And the 54th day of the novena happened to land on the very day that she was flying home from Ireland to New York. In fact, she said her 54th and final rosary on the airplane from Ireland to New York. And Nora said to John, "You'll never believe what happened. I got off the airplane. I drove from the airport to my apartment in New York City. I put the key in the door, and as I put the key in my door, I heard the phone ringing at that very moment. I picked up the phone, and it was my friend, who I hadn't talked to in years. And she said, 'Nora, I just wanted to call you to let you know that I just checked myself into rehab.'" Now, they hadn't talked for years, and her friend had no idea that she was being prayed for. But she entered rehab not only after the novena finished, but on the 54th and final day of that novena. And again, I ask you, how do you explain that, except by the power of prayer and the power of the 54-day Rosary Novena? I could keep you here for hours telling you more stories of miracles that happened to this novena. I won't do that to you, but I could. There is so much power in the Rosary. So much power. And yet, can I just speak an honest truth out loud? So many Catholics do not experience the power of the Rosary because so many Catholics do not pray the Rosary. There are many younger Catholics today who have never prayed a Rosary in their life and wouldn't even know how to if they wanted to. Years ago, families prayed the Rosary every night without fail, and now you've got young Catholic children who have never prayed one Rosary in their life and don't even know how to. As a little aside, if anybody here doesn't know how to say the Rosary and isn't praying the Rosary because they don't know how to say it, you call me and make an appointment, and I will personally sit down and teach you how to pray the Rosary. Not knowing how should never be a reason for not saying it. There is so much power in the Rosary, and that power is multiplied exponentially when you pray it as part of the 54-day Rosary Novena. So if the lesson of today's gospel is perseverance and persistence in prayer, then one of the best ways you can live out the message of today's gospel is by committing yourself to persevere in praying the Rosary every day for 54 days. Now, I got to add, it's not a magic trick, and it's not a product that we can sell by saying it's guaranteed to work or your money back. There are times where God sees fit not to answer a prayer because He sees the big picture and He knows that what we're asking for might not actually be as good for us as we think it will be. You ever heard the old saying, God answers all prayers, sometimes His answer is no? And He has His reasons sometimes for saying no. But even in the cases where that happens, with the people who pray the 54-day Rosary Novena, those people will tell you, as a result of their prayer, they found the peace and the strength to accept the disappointment of not getting their prayer answered. And in many cases, halfway through the prayer, the grace that they receive is that God shows them that they didn't really need all along the very thing that they were praying for. So the prayer always works. And with those examples of not getting the prayer answered aside, it's got to be said that there are still many, many, many cases to this day of people who see tremendous miracles after they pray this powerful novena. So, what are you praying for right now? Do you want it badly enough that you'd be willing to pray a rosary every day for 54 days for that thing that you're praying for? If your answer is yes, pick up your rosary, Get to pray in it. Persevere and don't give up like the woman in today's gospel. And if you persist in that prayer, 2 months from now, you may very well be witnessing a miracle.